Rush
promise.
I guess at this point in time, if he promised he would, as you said, we will hold him to his promise.
When? How?
It's not something I can force.
Of course it is.
We really need to move on. So Doug, our friend Doug from Hillsdale writes, since private schools can refuse student enrollment, does the voucher plan give the choice let's do it again. Since private schools can refuse students' enrollment, doesn't the voucher plan give the choice to the private schools instead of the parents, especially students with disabilities or who are struggling academically?
More clapping that goes on the less time we have the answer.
You have all day.
We got all of them.
I think we're listening to all the questions here and making comments on them as best we can. There is no voucher plan in front of us right now, so I can't comment on the specifics of the voucher plan, how it will be carried out. Bottom line is, we are committed to fostering quality education. I believe that takes place best at the state and local level. There is no, and if you went to the Constitution, and you can read it very simply, small document, state Constitution is much larger. There's not one reference in the U.S. Constitution to our responsibility for or against education in any way, shape, or form.
Wow.
The state Constitution says in Article 8, Section 1, religion, morality, knowledge being necessary to good government, schools and the means of education shall forever be encouraged. It is the primary responsibility of our states and local communities to do that. Our responsibility at the federal level is to turn as much back as we possibly can, as quickly as we can. That began last year, and with the president signing two very specific documents. President Obama signed those. One was relative to doing away with the mandates for Common Core and No Child Left Behind. Two programs that were well-intentioned, but were nothing but headaches to our local schools, our teachers in the classroom specifically, to carry on the responsibility the parents expect them to do in educating their kids. We turned that back to the states and the local districts. They can make the decision. If they want to use Common Core practices, they can. If they want to use No Child Left Behind principles, they can. But they don't have to. We also turned the resources back to the states and local school districts to use. The second area was in the area of CTE, career and technical education. Right now, we have challenges in filling the numbers of jobs that go vacant for people either capable and trained to do the job or willing to do the job in this state. The last I looked, which was about 4 weeks ago, there were 85,000 jobs in Michigan on the job website, Michigan State's job website, that were going wanting. And these were middle class, middle income to upper class jobs. Technology, skilled trades, STEM jobs, those kind of things. So for the federal government to have 45 redundant, for the most part, job training programs, federal job training programs in place, that put all sorts of mandates and took away flexibility from the local districts in meeting the needs of the local district for the type of jobs that that area or that city or that community was just wrong. We passed legislation that almost cut in half the number of federal job programs. We'd like to go forward, but that's the deliberative process of House and Senate and President. But nonetheless, a big push was put back, giving more flexibility and opportunity for ISDs, community colleges, apprentice programs through the skilled trades, etc., to carry out the function of training people for real-world jobs. That's where it has to be. If we get a voucher plan in place, I'll take a look at it. But I think that happens best at the state and local level, with people making their decisions, starting with parents, school board members, administrators, faculty members, making those decisions on what will produce quality education the state of Michigan, and in this case, in Hillsdale County.
Congressman, this will represent the disagreement even among this group here. Bill from Coldwater, James from Hillsdale, want to know what you're going to do to abolish the EPA. Kathy from Chelsea and Vicki from Coldwater are asking you, excuse me, not from Vicki, Kathy from Chelsea is asking, what are you doing to agree or disagree with the cuts to the EPA, and what are you doing to protect the EPA? So, there it is.
Let me tell you what I'm doing with the EPA. Is that a good start? I think there's a place for the EPA. Is that okay? Yeah. Give me some applause. Give me some applause. I think there's a place for the EPA. You know, I started out after high school, graduated high school in the south side of Chicago, growing up with coughing birds and chewing the atmosphere that came from the steel mills and the refineries all around where I live in the south side. I don't want that. I went away to Western Illinois University. I majored in forestry and land management. My dream was to be involved in helping to be good steward of the resources we have. And yet, a good steward uses the resources and uses those appropriately. And that's where we have disagreements on what's appropriate. But I believe in stewardship of our natural resources. So there is a place for the EPA. There's a place for the DEQ. But I think there's also a place for business and industry. I think there's a place for agriculture. I think there's a place for sporting, outdoor sports and recreation. All of that goes in a mix that makes this place on this planet the best place to live in the entire world. And so there is a place for the EPA. I've never said that I was going to abolish the EPA. That's unrealistic. I can tell you from a fact of living there in the confines of Washington part of the days of the week. But there are not the votes in the House and Senate to do anything like that. But there have been votes to say, EPA, do what's appropriate for you. Don't step over the boundaries and step into places you're not supposed to. For instance, most recently with the Waters of the U.S. legislation. They can't even do their responsibility with relationship to the oceans and the major rivers and the issues relative even to our Great Lakes without now wanting to step into dealing with farm puddles and drainage ditches. And the impact that goes on with our agricultural community. That's something that we're responsible for. So reining in the EPA on WOTUS, thankfully we did it. It's done, it's accomplished. Now the other thing with the EPA, and this is with not only with the EPA, but it was related to the EPA, was a bill that I passed yesterday. It was my bill that said any agency, any department that is promulgating rules, and under the law, they will promulgate certain rules after legislation is put in place by Congress to carry out the responsibilities that Congress has given them. It comes to a public comment period. That public comment period is important, extremely important. If the public can't comment, we've got problems. If the agency decides they want to comment, but they want to comment in a clandestine way of using thunderclap, for instance. Some of you know what thunderclap is. It puts all of the basic social media together and bangs it out all at one shot. And the EPA, as they did with WOTUS, sent a thunderclap out telling all the good points of what they were doing there, not identifying it was coming from the EPA, and trying to enhance the positives so they could justify saying to Congress, the people support WOTUS. That's what they did. Well, fortunately, Senator Inhofe found out about what they were doing and was able to go to GAO, General Accounting Office, and the General Accounting Office did a study on that and concluded that the EPA had violated the law egregiously. My bill simply says you can't do that. Number one, you have to identify who you are as an agency. This is the EPA. We're soliciting public comments on this proposal. This is what the proposal does. Simple fact. Not pumping it up. It's just simple fact. And so that passed. And so while I'm not here to say we're going to do away with EPA, and I would support that, I'm going to say they're going to live within the confines of what a democratic republic is all about, and that's the people are first, and not bureaucracy.
Sorry, ma'am, please. All right, Congressman, Linda from Onstead says, Mr. Stephen Bannon has been given a role at the National Security Council. Many months of investigation are required in order for an individual to obtain the necessary clearance pursuant to this, serving on the NSC. What is your stance on a possible investigation with regard to this, not having the necessary security clearance before serving in this role? Please advise.
Yes.
Sitting on the Energy and Commerce Committee and then being given a waiver to remain on Education and Workforce and chair the subcommittee on health, employment, labor, and pensions, I have a full platter. The Judiciary Committee, the Intelligence Committee, and other entities in the Justice Department itself, as well as the FBI, will do any investigations necessary. I will support the rule of law. And I assume that will be found out. Because right now, I think it's safe to assume, most of the people in all of those entities were there before Donald Trump took office.
All right,
Bannon was there before he took office.
Vicky in Coldwater, the common denominator in every mass killing by U.S. citizens since 1978 is that the shooter has been identified with a mental illness. Recently, you voted to repeal a regulation that required SSA to inform the National Incident Criminal Background Check System if someone applied due to mental problem. Does this seem like a common sense approach to keeping those conditions happen?
Well, in this country, we have a Constitution with a Second Amendment.
Mental illness.
That makes it very clear that we all have the right to keep and bear arms. If used inappropriately, there are laws that should be carried out. But secondly, on that issue that you're talking about, I simply agreed with the ACLU and numerous mental health organizations who supported that legislation that pushed back on the president's midnight rule that he put in place.
Why is it?
You'll have to ask the ACLU, and you'll have to ask the mental health.
You supported it.
Why
You
did
voted.
support
it. Why did you support it? Give us your reason why.
I support the Second Amendment, and I support people being considered innocent until proven guilty.
Rachel from Dexter asks, prior to the ACA, catastrophic illnesses such as heart disease and cancer often cause patients to hit their lifetime cap and effectively become uninsured. Will you commit to voting against any bill that reestablishes a lifetime cap?
That's one issue that wasn't changed in the reconciliation bill we put through last year and put on the president's desk. That's the same as the bill I read yesterday. There's no attempt to change that. Any information that's been put out, that our attempt will be to do that, including, let me touch on two other areas so we get that done as well. The issue of pre-existing conditions will be carried through in our plan as well. In fact, if you read the Better Way plan that we've been talking about all through the last year and during the campaign, and ultimately the American people said yes to in a very strong way and gave us the go-ahead on moving forward in that plan as a result of the outcome of the elections. Pre-existing conditions will continue to be covered, and we will also continue 26 years of age and younger being able to stay on their parents' health program.
All right, Congressman, from Pittsford, Michigan, Dennis says, as a former union member and employee in Lenawee County, I would like to know what you are doing to advance VOTEC career training nationally and especially here in Michigan.
Well, I'll just revert back to the question I answered earlier about the Skills Act that we passed that gave more responsibility as well as dollars to follow that and less mandates, much more flexibility for the states, local communities, in their ISDs, their advanced training centers like we have in Hudson. I know Hillsdale uses that very well. Jackson, similar types of things, as well as in manufacturing industry, their training programs, to use those dollars to train people on real-world jobs for the real-world economy that we have right now. Downsizing the federal control over that, giving it back to where it makes most sense, that being where the jobs actually happen. It worked pretty well. In fact, I would say it worked exceedingly well before the federal government got into it. My dad, being a machinist and tool die maker for all his working in life after the Depression, losing everything in the Depression, starting over again, going to Allied Trade School, and then working until he was age 73 happily. As health care continued, he would continue to work in that trade. That didn't come as a result of the federal program training my dad. That didn't come as a result of federal regulation mandating that. It came as a result of people having the opportunity to carry on in an America that said, listen, we're not going to kick you when you're down. We'll reach our hand to help you up, but then you can go on and make it work. And that happened without the federal government.
Okay, Sam from Ann Arbor, tax reform is badly needed. Over our 76,000-page income tax rules are hurting everyone. What are you going to do about this? And also, is the fair tax getting any support?
Well, it's got my support. It's had my support since I came to Congress, the fair tax. I also supported the flat tax. Anything that changes our hurtful tax policy, complex, as my good friend and former colleague Dave Camp was known to say, over triple the number of pages of the good book with none of the good news. And that's what the tax code is. We, again, in our Better Way plan, put forward a comprehensive tax reform that moves down to 3 basic tax rates, gives incentives for businesses in hiring more people. And again, that's how the economy grows. It grows by people like you and me having jobs that put money in our pocket that we can use in the marketplace. We save, we invest, we spend. It grows the economy. If that's back in government, and remember, during all these years, even during the times when Bill Clinton or Ronald Reagan cut taxes, government revenue grew. Even during this downturn in our economy for the past 10 years or so, more revenue was coming into Washington than ever before. It's housing, it's spending. And so tax reform that gives people like you the opportunity to make choices on how you spend it and save it grows the economy. That's why America is what it is. Even with wrong-headed plans that have taken place in the last number of years, we still have the strength of an economy that leads the world. We want to keep that going.
Congressman, we have from North Adams, Michigan, Abe, who says, are you aware of, looks like House Bill 4916? Where do you stand on sanctuary cities?